Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a video that I've never done before, but I thought that this video might be a little bit helpful. I just thought that this would be kind of a fun and interesting video to watch. So you can obviously see from the title below that this is do's and don'ts of makeup. I'm not making this video to criticize people. I'm not making this video to point out flaws that people are doing. I'm not making this video to poke fun at other people. This is just a light-hearted video. It hopefully be a little bit helpful. A lot of the don'ts in this video are don'ts that I have done, so I'm basically like saying, oh, remember when you used to do this, Aisling, and this is the way that you've learned how to do it. It's just showing how maybe you evolve with your makeup. If any of the don'ts in this video you do every day and you love how it looks on you, then you keep rocking it. Don't change it because you do what makes you feel the happiest and makes you feel the most beautiful. So I'm first off gonna place my hair back, my lovely Halloween cat ears. So I'm gonna leave this side as my do side and this side as my don't side. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place some primer on my do side. I'm just using the Last and Finish primer from Rimmel. I actually love this primer as of late. Very, very affordable and performs beautifully on the skin. So I'm gonna apply that just in little dots onto this side of my feet. And I'm just going to blend that in with my finger. You don't need any fancy equipment to blend in your primer. All you need is one clean hand for this. Didn't prime my face until I started doing YouTube. But what primer actually does is it prolongs the life of your foundation. It just makes it last a bit longer. It stops your foundation from sinking into your pores. It also makes your foundation go on a little bit better. So on the don't side, I'm not going to apply any primer, but I'm going to go straight in with a foundation that is far too dark for me. This is a common mistake that I always made when I was younger. I was like, oh, I want to have a tan face, so I'll go in with the darkest foundation that I can find. Right now, I'm my natural skin color, but it is a little bit darker than normal because I was in Gran Canaria, obviously. This foundation matches me when I've been in Spain for about 2 weeks. I'm going to take it on a foundation brush. It doesn't really matter how you apply your foundation. It's up to yourself. But I'm just going to apply it on a foundation brush to a side that I have not primed. I'm going to leave a little line here as well. I'm not going to put it onto my ear, and I'm going to place it through my brows as well. Now, as you can see, I don't know if you can see from there, but there's a clear difference between my foundation and my neck, and they just don't match. This foundation matches me much better. This is my L'Oreal True Match in the color W4, and I'm taking it on a beauty blender. Again, it doesn't matter what tool you use. That brush is dirty now, so I don't want to use it again. It matches my skin tone. My face is slightly lighter than my body, and you want to bring it down your neck as well, because your neck doesn't always match the color of your chest, because obviously if you're lying out in the sun, your head is shadowing your neck, so your neck can be a little bit lighter. And then you can blend it onto the ear too, because the ear is a dead set giveaway that you're wearing foundation, even though everybody knows. Okay, next I'm going to move on to concealer. We all use concealer underneath our eyes to brighten. Actually, I might just use the same concealer just so you can see on this side it's brightening, but it's not overly bright. Whereas when I use it on this side, you can clearly see the contrast between the dark foundation and the light under eye area, whereas this side is just a shade lighter. That's why getting your foundation to match is very important, and it's going to brighten up, but it's not going to be really, really, really obvious. One of the most important things when you are applying your makeup is to set it if you need to, but under eyes definitely. I'm not going to set the other side, but if you don't set it, what will happen is it will start to crease underneath your eye. It'll start to look crappy. It'll start to look like your eye is a little bit older than it is. And you want to use a lightish powder or a translucent powder, because you don't want to take away the emphasis of your under eye area. You want to keep them bright, obviously, but you don't want them too bright. As for setting powder, that's up to yourself. You can set your foundation. It's not a do or a don't if you don't set it. That's up to personal preference. For contouring, one thing I absolutely hate for contouring is a warm bronzer like this. So now I'm going to move on to contouring, and one thing I absolutely hate to contour is a warm bronzer like this. I do not use a warm bronzer like this because it just muddies up the face. And then I would take a little contour brush like this, because I think I'd be really, really good, and I would just draw a line underneath my cheekbone, and I would bring it right down into the corner of my mouth. That's how I would literally contour back in the day. And then I would bring it around here, and again I would bring it across the top of my forehead, and because I was like, oh, I have a really big forehead, I'll bring it down. So I would literally be left with this muddy mess. And this is no joke. Like, you guys are probably looking at me going, nobody does that. I did this. I used to contour like this. I actually have old videos on my channel of my makeup looking like this. The way I now contour and how I think it looks a little bit better on me is I use this type of bronzer here, so it's a little bit cooler and it's gonna give a little bit more of a natural shadow to my face. It doesn't matter about the brushes. I have a whole contour video which I'll link down below, and I've talked to you about brushes in that video. It doesn't really matter. I would make a little fishy face, go from the corner of my ear all the way down to the corner of my eye. Contouring is to look subtle, not in your face. I would also bring it just around my temple and just a little bit across the top of my forehead. I'm using a cooler tone so it gives more of a shadow and natural shadow onto your face. So next I'm going to move on to blush. And again, if you want to see how I used to do my blusher, check out my old videos because that'll just give you an indication of what sort of skills I had back then with makeup. My blusher. Now this is a blusher that I actually wear and I've worn it a few times and I like how it looks. But I'll show you how I used to wear my blusher back in the day, and this is definitely a big don't. For starters, I would take a huge amount of it. I would just load it up in the brush. I'd keep patting it on and on. There'd be dust flying everywhere and dab it right on my cheek. I'd bring it back and I'd be just so delighted that my apples on my cheeks were glowing. But the way that I used to apply blush like this was not hot. Like, that was not cute. Nowadays, I would take a blusher that is going to suit or complement my makeup look. I take a tiny amount because you can always build up the product, and I just apply it to just past the apples of my cheeks almost, just kind of bringing it back as well and just adding little bits at a time just to build up the product. That would be usually how my blush would look these days, not too intense. Now I'm going to talk about highlighting. I love highlighter, and then I would go in with a sweeping of highlighter and bring it way too far down, and it would be kind of like a stripe going back, and I would blend it probably onto my eyebrow as well. I would put my highlighter as my highlighting colour underneath my brow bone as well, and I would do it all in one step. Whereas now I take a light dusting and I just apply it to the top part of my cheeks, and then I bring it in a C shape, just kind of around cupping my eye almost. Put a bit over my cupid's bow these days. As you can see, that is this side in comparison to that side, which is just a bit too much going on. This side is not as muddy. Well, I hope it's not. It doesn't look like it is on camera. Oh, eyebrows. This is the struggle of my life, guys, and I'm still kind of getting used to applying eyebrow products. I was never really the one for the eyebrows. Like, if you wanted advice on eyebrows, I was not the girl to go to. But I am getting a little bit better, and I have figured out a way that works for my brows. This product here can be your lifesaver, but it can also be the death of you, because it's one of those products where if you go a little bit too strong, it would look real blocky. Whereas if you use a light hand with it, like feathering motions, you can actually make it look really, really pretty. I would take it probably on a big brush like this. Like, it is an angled brush, it's just a bit too dense with bristles, and I would start on the bottom, do one swipe like that, and I would do another swipe on the top, and then I would do the little square in the front. That's how I did my eyebrows. So right now I take a brush like this, and it's a much finer tipped brush. Instead of going in with loads of product, I take the tiniest amount. I now do little strokes. I still start on the bottom, but instead of drawing like a block line, I just do little natural hair strokes. Same with the front bit. I have very sparse hairs in the front, and I will fill in the brow hairs where they're missing from, just by angling the brush. So that's the way my brows are looking right now. They just look a little bit more natural. Everything is filled in with little short strokes. It's not one big swipe. So next I'm going to talk a little bit about eyeshadow. The first thing I will always say is to use a base. This one is just MAC Paint Early Paint Pot. You can use whatever you have. They just stop your eyeshadow from creasing throughout the day, stop your eyeshadow from fading. So I'm taking my Makeup Geek shadows. I'm going straight in with this one here, and it's a matte shadow, and it's called Peach Smoothie. It's one of the best transition colors ever. Something I never used back in the day was a transition color. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was used for. You take it on a small brush like this, and then I just place it into my crease, and you can feel it with the brush, and just do like back and forth movements, and then blending it upwards as you lose the product on the brush. So there's not that much product left in the brush. I'm just blending up what's been placed onto the eye. Then I'm taking Latte here. So you want to place it again into the crease. You can feel it again with your brush, and then again, as I'm losing color, I blend it up. And then if you want to intensify that even more, you can go in with the darker color, which is the color that I'm really want to kind of have on my eye, but you have to build it up. So I'm going to place that again into my crease, blending it up as I lose eyeshadow. So now you can see that I have gone from the lightest to the darkest. The darkest I keep mostly focused in my crease. I don't blend it up too high. Now I'm going to show you what I used to do. I didn't prime my eyelids. I would go in, I'd see that brown color, I'd be like, that's what I want on my eyes. I want that in my crease. So I would take loads of it on a big brush, and I would not start in the crease. I would kind of start above my crease, and I would blend it up higher and higher and higher. It'd be blending up into my eyebrow. There's nothing I can do now because I can't bring that down because I've already applied the shadow. So all I could do was kind of just leave it there. So I take the middle of the 3 shadows that I took, and I would place it with a tiny little brush just underneath the outer part or portion of my eye. I used to take an eyeshadow brush like this, just a big flat fluffy brush, go in with that same brown shadow, and I just place loads of it underneath my eye like that, and probably bring it the whole way in as well. To open up my eyes, I now take like a shadow like this, just a shimmery little shadow, and I take it on a really fine little pencil brush and just apply that right into the inner tear duct of my eye. This eye looks even a little bit more open and more awake, and this one looks really weighed down with eyeshadow underneath the lower lash lines. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about gel liner. Again, I'm going to use the same gel liner for both techniques, but what I used to do a few years ago, or when I was first getting into makeup, was I would take an angle brush. This is fine to use if you're pretty good with gel liner. Back then I was not good at gel liner. I used to take the corner of my brush and bring it up, straight up to the corner of my eyebrow. So you're left with this kind of intense wing. Then I would fill in the area. Nowadays, I take a really fine little brush, probably not going to be able to even see that. Instead of going up, I go out. It's not going to be as an intense wing. I don't know if you can see that there. So I will just bring my wing about halfway in, or my eyeliner halfway in. Another thing I have seen people do, I never used to do, is to bring it along the lower lashes and closing your eye off altogether, especially when you're going for like a simple look. Is I would take a pencil like this. This is the Scandalized one in Nude from Rimmel, and I absolutely love this. Place it straight into my waterline. This is a nude colour, so what it's going to actually do is open up your eyes. Not all eyelashes like this are actually designed to match every single eye, and a common mistake I used to use back in the day was just getting eyelashes, applying them onto my eye, and just going out the door, and they would be hanging kind of down this side of my eye. So I do recommend that you measure up your eyelashes to your natural eye and then cut them as you need to. These eyelashes are perfectly fit to my eye, but I will show you how I used to do my eyelashes. I would have gone in with my eyelash like this and just plonked it onto my eye, not even measured it up really. And so I don't know if you can see that eyelash because it's just a really light one, but it's kind of coming down this side of my eye like a little bit too far, and kind of dragging my eye down, making it look a little bit older than my eye should be. But with this eyelash, I would have previously obviously measured it up and make sure that it fitted my eye and cut it as I needed it to. I would put it mostly in the inner corner of my eye. So this lash fits my eye perfectly. It's been measured. It's actually giving a bit of volume to my lashes because it's not down here dragging my eye down. It's just difficult to actually see what's going on in the eyes, whereas this one just makes my eyes look a little bit more open, so my whole eye is kind of lifted. So finally I'm going to move on to lips. This is my favourite part of any makeup look that I ever do. And I'm going to take 2 lip liners. They're both from Rimmel. One is Essence Snob and the other one's Addiction. I absolutely love these lip liners. Like, I love overlining my lips. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't think there's anything personally wrong with it. One common mistake that I often make was I would take my lip liner from the Cupid's bow. Because I have this big huge swoop at my Cupid's bow, I would continue that down the whole way, and I would overline the corners of my lips as well. I recommend not to overline the corner of your mouth because that's where it looks really obvious. You can overline the bottom part of your lip or your Cupid's bow ever so slightly, but when you overline the natural corners of your mouth, it just looks really full. Overlining the bottom part is fine, but when you get into the corner of the mouth, you want to try and match it up as best as you can with your natural lip line. I'm just going to line outside my natural lip line. So it just looks a bit too crazy and overlined. Whereas to overline properly, or how I overline properly, yeah, okay to do on the Cupid so. And then I just follow my natural lip line. So where I'm giving a bit of volume up here, and I'm going to give a bit of volume down here, corners of my mouth are going to remain the same, or I'm going to follow the natural line. So I don't know if each side is obvious to you. Obviously this would be my no side, or I used to do this. Whereas now I'm doing my makeup a little bit more like this, especially for a natural day look. A little lighter hand gives you just something more of what you're actually looking to achieve. Whereas too strong of a hand, wrong colors, can just give you something that's just not exactly natural. You do your makeup how you like to. I'm just showing you how I used to do my makeup. The changes that I've made because I feel like this side just complements me a little bit better. Thank you so much guys for watching. I love you guys so much. Talk to you soon. Mwah!